May we now recognize the President pro tempore, Senator Recto.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Just a few questions to Secretary Dar. Secretary, magkano ho ba ang baboy ngayon sa palengke?
Presyo ng baboy ngayon po ay nasa between 350 to 380. Opo.
Okay. Prior to ASF, magkano pa dapat ang presyo ng baboy sa palengke?
Mayroon tayong dating SRP yun bago or even during the ASF at mas mababa talaga.
Magkano dapat ang presyo ng baboy sa palengke? Assuming walang ASF.
Let 260 to 280 po.
Okay. So sa madaling salita, pumalo yung presyo na mahigit 100 piso per kilo. Okay? Because of ASF. Now, etong ginawa ninyo ngayon na executive order na pagbawas ng taripa, sa estimate ba ninyo bababa ang presyo ng baboy sa palengke?
That's the whole objective po.
At magkano tinatarget ninyo ang bababa ang presyo?
We have a computation here. Kung mamarapatin, I request one of my officers to mention that.
Sige, pwede natin. For as long as it is not counted of part of the 10 minutes, can we take a look at what the price should look like once you allow the importation? Sige. Magkano presyo?
Recto real breed, ito yung computation po. Hindi pa, ito yung sila lang nag-compute muna. Okay.
Mr. Chair, very much po. Currently po, looking at 40% tariff, yung pong liempo ay papatak po na nasa 350. If we will compute at 15% tariff, it will be around in the neighborhood of 295 pesos, Mr. Chair. At
Okay.
sa 5% po ay nasa 275, Mr. Chair.
Okay, question. Hindi mo ba lahat ng import na yan ay hindi naman fresh at yan ay frozen?
Mr. Chair, yun pong frozen ay qualified po as fresh frozen.
Okay? Pero hindi yan fresh na locally produced. Di ba? Frozen yan. Kaya nga pinag-uusapan kanina yung may mga refrigeration van o kung ano-ano. Hindi mo ba yung mga import na yan binibenta sa supermarket at hindi sa palengke?
That is true, Mr. Chair. However, yun nga po yung limitation nito, kaya po hindi siya naibebenta sa palengke ay dahil nga po walang cold chain or walang freezer. Under Administrative Order number 6, it is required po na ang imported meat kung ibebenta sa palengke ay dapat po merong cold chain facility.
Sa makatuwid, hindi rin bababa ang presyo sa palengke. Kasi frozen yan. Pag supermarket yan, din sa palengke.
Mr. Chair, that's why there is a plan po to support yung mga retail vendors po sa palengke na together with the LGUs po nabigyan sila ng facilities, researches.
Mukhang malabo pa yan. Mukhang malabo pa yan. But having said that, the point is this. No? Okay. Assuming hindi tayo mag-import o itaas natin yung MAV at magbaba tayo ng tarifa, how long will it take for the hog industry to increase their production by 30%? With current prices is an incentive for them to repopulate, isn't it?
Mr. Chair, it will take siguro po Mr. Chair around 2 to 3 years po. And just for the information of the August Chamber, ang Spain po, it took them 30 years to actually control and eradicate the ASF and completely transforming po yung kanilang production environment. Meaning to say na wala po yung kanilang mga backyard farmers because of the biosecurity requirement, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so ulitin natin. You are saying that the local industry, it will take 2 to 3 years for them to be able to repopulate?
Yes, Mr. Chair, given the current situation na ASF po ay may threat pa din siya, Mr. Chair.
Okay, now let's move on. Saan nang galing yung ASF mo yan? Galing ba sa Pilipinas yan o galing sa imported yan?
Mr. Chair, as mentioned kanina po, wala pong ASF ang Pilipinas. Ito po ay pumasok lamang sa atin and ang tinitingnan nga po natin
Okay.
through illegal.
So, yes. So itong ASF parang COVID din yan, is that correct? COVID sa tao, ASF sa baboy.
You can have that analysis, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Pero today, dahil sa COVID, hindi natin pinapayagan ang turista pumasok sa Pilipinas.
That's true, Mr. Chair.
Pero yung turistang baboy, papayagan natin.
Mr. Chair, if I may po, we have a system accreditation in place and under po sa international committee.
No, I understand that. Ha? Pero there is testimony earlier here na hindi kaya natin i-check yung mga meat imports natin sa port. Di ba?
Mr. Chair, that is the reason why we have the second border for 100% inspection.
Okay? Pero nakalusot rin. May ASF eh.
Sir, as previously mentioned, Mr. Chair, it is due to the smuggled products that found its way into swill or refuse na itinapon po sa Rodriguez, sa Rizal.
O, kaya nga. O, paano pumasok yun? Smuggled.
That's the assumption, Mr. Chair.
Correct.
The nearest,
Now, if you are to increase the MAV, you want to increase more imports. Is that correct?
for 1 year, Mr. Chair.
Yes, for 1 year. Okay. And there will be more avenues for smuggling. Is that correct?
This, Mr. Chair, are legal imports. At ang sinasabi po natin, kapag legal importation po, Mr. Chair, there is no room for smuggling, Mr. Chair. These are not smuggled. Rather, these are legal importation, Mr. Chair.
Kung nga pumapasok yun eh. Okay, but anyway, the point is this, no? Will you guarantee na bababa ang presyo from 400, 380 to 280? Are you guaranteeing that?
That is the intention, Mr. Chair. Yes po.
That is the intention. Okay, for 1 year. And what happens after 1 year? Will you increase? Is it in the EO that those tariffs will go back to normal, to 30 and 40%? Wala naman sa EO yun eh, di ba?
Yun pong babalik po sa normal lahat, Mr. Chair. Volume and tariff.
After 1 year.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay? And what plans are you doing in the DA to repopulate naman? Because you mentioned earlier, it would take 2 to 3 years to repopulate.
Mr. Chair, meron pong programa na ni-implement ang DA ngayon which is called Inspire. Ito po yung pagtulong po doon sa mga ag-racers to repopulate po doon sa previously affected areas. And as well, doon po sa free areas ay to expand po yung production.
Okay, ano yung itutulong ninyo? What is the budget of the DA for the hog industry next year? Or this year, 2021? Alam ko, napakaliit eh.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I am taking charge of the project Inspire. This is the national repopulation and recovery program for the swine industry. This year, we will be needing about 6.9 billion.
Now, how much is your budget this year for the hog industry?
With our realigned budget, Mr. Chair, we have 600 million
plus 1.6 for the Bantay ASF or biosecurity. So this is 2.1, and we would like to have additional funding requirement of 4.2 billion.
Okay, so let me stop you there. Thank you for that information. So in effect, today, as we speak, wala kayong pondo para sa hog industry. You're asking for additional budget, and we thank you for letting us know.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we thank you for letting us know. Now, okay, the hog industry was asking for indemnification. Okay? Hindi nila kasalanan na nagkaroon ng ASF eh. Ang may kasalanan dito, gobyerno, dahil pumasok sa borders natin. At ang nagbabantay ng border natin, gobyerno. Okay? Now, ilan yung namatay sa hog industry na baboy? Yung pinatay?
With the PSA data, Mr. Chair, there is a 3 million
3
population.
million. Okay? Kung bibigyan mo ng 10,000 kada isa na indemnification, di mo ba 30 billion yon?
Yeah, the other hogs belongs to the backyard racers, and they were already given indemnification of 5,000 per head, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So ulitin ko lang ha. How much have we spent for the hog industry na tulong natin sa kanila to help them repopulate? How much indemnification did you release already?
Yeah, under the new program, we call it Inspire. We would like to institutionalize now the livestock insurance, and it will be the indemnification will be given by the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation at 10,000 per head sa farmer, and then 14,000 po sa breeders.
Yes, Secretary, ulitin ko lang. How much have you spent last year on DA for indemnification? Yun ang tanong ko.
We spent around 1.395 billion.
Okay. Then we will never be able to repopulate. 3 million yung namatay eh. At 10,000 each, that's 30 billion. Kung 5,000, 15 billion. Di ba? So, your budget is only 1.6 billion. Right? Okay? So, tama nga naman. With this importation, baka naman mamaya hindi na makapag-repopulate yung local industry natin.
Yeah, we started the Inspire program. That's why we have the 600 million budget for to start the repopulation, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Kailan papasok yung mga import ninyo, Secretary?
The imports once started anytime now, and the first thing to do is for BOC to start putting this notification. Once that is done, the MAB secretary will put up the okay, may parang in-issue na po ng BOC.
Okay. So, Secretary, ganito lang ang tanong. When do we
Senator Recto, I just would like to pursue that point. Secretary, you mentioned earlier, I'm now the presiding officer, by the way. You mentioned earlier na by raffle ang pag-allocate ng MAB. Is that correct?
Opo. Your
By
Honor.
raffle. So, ito yung makapag-assure na makapag-ensure na equitable saka fair yung distribution.
Opo.
Kasi raffle eh.
Kung MAB plus po, raffle yon.
Raffle. So dapat fair. At
Hindi
saka equitable, magiging pare-parehas lang. Ano?
po.
But alam nyo, nakatanggap kami ng data from the Bureau of Customs. Merong 4 na top 4 consignees na mga importers. Eto, bakit lagi sila nananalo sa raffle?
Maybe i-mention po ng MAB Secretariat, wala pa kaming ginalaw dun sa 54,000 po na MAB in quota. Kung sino po yung allocatees datihan, sila pa rin po.
Hindi, raffle pa rin nung nakaraan eh.
Yun
Pero
nga,
ito yung 4 yung Atkins, Import and Export, PNL, Technofarm, Rizalin Manyo, Manaloto Trading. Sila yung pinakamaraming importation. So lagi sila nananalo sa raffle. Thank you, Senator Recto.
Yeah, thank you, Senator Lacson. My understanding is that, Secretary, correct me if I'm wrong, ha? Ang alam ko yung MAV, kung sino yung mga binibigyan nung araw pa, sila pa rin talaga ang binibigyan. At kung may nadadagdagan na MAV, yun lang ang rinaraffle. In fact, in the last few years, mga 2% lang yung raffle. Kung sino yung may allocation na, tuloy-tuloy yung allocation nila. Is that correct?
po, tama.
Tama. Okay. So wala talagang raffle, essentially. Now, itong 400,000 na i-import natin ngayon, yung 50,000 yun ang binibigyan. Yung 350 ba, ira-raffle yan?
Yung guidelines pa po kasi hindi pa aprobado itong MAP Plus.
Okay.
Ay, wala pa po tayong guidelines.
Wala
Pero,
pang guidelines.
okay po.
Pirmado na yung executive order, pero wala pang guidelines.
Hindi po, yung lowering of tariff po yon.
Oo.
Yung sa MAP Plus po, wala pang executive order.
Wala pang executive order. Okay. So, when do we expect prices of pork to drop?
Ang pinaka factor po yun pag may dumating na po. Pero ang ginagawa po pa ngayon ng DA, yung mobilization pa rin ng hog supplies na sa galing surplus provinces ay tuloy-tuloy pa rin yun. As of this date, for more than 2 months na, nakapag-mobilize na tayo ng 289,000 heads. Tuloy-tuloy po ito.
Secretary, we're aware of that. Ang tinatanong ko is when do we expect prices to drop?
Okay, pag dumating na po yung mga imports out of the lowering of tariff, yun po, I understand, ang pagpasok po ng imported ay nasa 40 to 60 days.
Okay, so siguro by June. Okay. Do you expect prices to hit 500 pesos per kilo?
Ay sana hindi hahantong doon na dapat magtulungan po tayo kasi talagang manipis na yung ating supply sa bansa.
Okay. What can be done immediately to increase the supply instead of importing? What is the alternative? How do we repopulate?
Well, the
Immediately.
repopulation, Mr. Senate President Senral, yung repopulation dapat talaga yun ang pinaka priority po natin. At we only have ito nga 600 million for the backyard clustering in ASF affected areas. At mayroon din 500 million na pautang para dun sa backyard and semi-commercial in green zone, zero interest, payable in 5 years. At itong commercial hog raising, mayroon na mga credit facilities offered by Land Bank, 15 billion po mayroon sila, DBP 12 billion.
Okay. Maraming mga binabanggit sa credit lang yan. Dami namin dinagay sa SME, sa Bayanihan 1, Bayanihan 2, and all that. Ang bagal.
Senator Recto, can I make a manifestation?
Yes.
Senator Recto?
Yes.
Senator Villar, with the permission of the Pro Tem.
Yeah. I saw there Arise. What do you call your program? Arise for the repopulation. And my question there
We call it,
is what do you call your program for repopulation? Secretary Dar?
we call it Inspire.
Inspire, yes. I read that Inspire. And my comment there is the biggest budget is 27 billion from Land Bank and DBP. Their budget in the Department of Agriculture is only something like 400 million or 600 million, around that figure. What I'm saying is that 27 billion is not only for hog farmer. It's the provision of bayanihan law for the whole country, for the whole economy. So you cannot say that that is part of your program. It will be for the whole economy. It's not just for the hog farmer. So it's wrong to say that the DBP and the Land Bank will give it all to the hog farmers. No. It's the total budget of Bayanihan 2 to the economy. That is my question when they presented that budget for repopulation and helping the hog industry, that there is very little money there. And you're telling us that the what do you call this, the insurance company of agriculture, the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation, based on experience, when you rely on the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation, the indemnity will be slow. That's the complaint with the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation. If they indemnify, they're so slow. So I don't think it will help the farmer. If I am the backyard farmer and I have to claim from the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation, ay siguro itatago ko na lang yung aking hog at ipupuslit ko at pagbibili ko kahit may ASF. Hindi ko naaasahan ng Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation. Kasi ako nakaranas na dito sa kapitbahay ko, may mga hog farmers eh. Talaga ipupuslit nila kasi mahihirap yung mga tao na yan eh. Without the compensation, they will not give you their hogs. Yung amin eh, nagmakaawa ako sa local government at saka sa DA na bayaran para wag lang ipuslit eh. Buti kung naandun ako palagi, paano kung wala namang magdi-defend sa kanila, ipupuslit nila yun at ipagbibili nila kahit may ASF kasi ano nila yun na yun lang ang pera nila eh, ng mahihirap na hog farmer, backyard farmer. You have to understand that, Dr. Dar. You know, when you are making policy, you have to understand yung buhay ng mahihirap na farmer sa ground. Huwag kang makikinig sa NEDA kasi ang NEDA hindi naman nila naiintindihan kung ano nangyayari sa ground. Katulad noon, inano nila sa akin na tatanggalin daw yung subsidy sa mga co-op kasi daw yung mga co-op, billion ang assets. Sabi ko, billion nga ang assets, 200,000 naman ang member. You divide 1 billion by 200,000, that's 5,000 each. Why will you penalize them? Ang kanilang binigay lang sa co-op 5,000 each. Hindi ba sila small members din? Minsan kasi yung NEDA, hindi naman nila nararamdaman yung nangyayari sa baba. Tayo ang nakakaramdam sa nangyayari sa baba. Ikaw, Dr. Dar, dapat ikaw makaramdam sa hirap ng mga mahihirap na hog farmers at damdamin mo kung ano ang nafe-feel nila bago ka gumawa ng policy na nakakaawa naman sila. Yun lang ang advice ko sa iyo, Dr. Dar. Huwag ka makikinig dyan sa mga compute na yan. Hindi naman yan ang katotohanan sa ground.
Salamat.
So look at what is happening on the ground. Nakaawa-awa yung ating mga poor farmers. Very poor na nga, lalo pa magiging poor. Yun lang po. Marami pong salamat.
Yes, if I may be allowed to wrap up. No?
Yes, go ahead, Senator Recto.
Thank you, Mr. President. Secretary Dar, ang hinihingi ng mga hog raisers din natin, if at all, no? Katulad ng binanggit ni Senator Villar, our chairman of the Committee on Agriculture earlier, they may be amenable to increasing the MAV. But why reduce the tariffs? If there is no assurance na bababa din naman yung presyo sa palengke. knowing, for example, that you're talking about frozen meat na hindi binibenta sa public market. Binibenta lang to sa grocery. Okay? And you're asking for an increase in budget. That increase in budget can be coming from the BOC on the collection instead of reducing the tariff. So this is a classic case again between our local industry and importation. Di ba? So, would the executive still be willing possibly to increase your BAV, whether that right number is 150,000 to 400,000, but not necessarily to reduce the tariff to provide some ample protection for our local industry so that they can, walang itutulong ang gobyerno sa kanila eh. Alam na natin, walang pondo yung DA in the budget today, even for indemnification. Yung insurance company ninyo, yung that you mentioned earlier, has only a budget of 3 billion. Diba? So would you still be amenable to reduce, instead of increase the MAV? Yes. If you claim that there is such a big deficit, nevertheless, not to reduce the tariff. Would you still be amenable to that, Secretary?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, especially if there is no assurance na bababa ang presyo.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President, Senator Ralph.
Yes, thank you, Secretary.
Ang nasabi na kanina ni Director Reldrin Morales po, nung natanong po ninyo kung ito ba pagbaba ng taripa ay maasigurado po na bababa yung presyo, yun po ang talagang gusto natin mangyari, but not to kill the industry. So, yung affordable and safe pork will have to be there para hindi tayo masyadong mataas ang inflation dito sa bansa. So, yun, I have to restate that na the lowering of tariff will help maintain lowering the prices of pork in the market. And hoping na with this low tariff ay wala na yung mga smuggled pork because mababa na yung taripa. So yun po, at ang NEDA board, nag-decide na po, I can speak for them. Maraming salamat po.
Yeah, Secretary, just one final point, no, before I finish, no? Yung kung maraming player ang nag-import, posibleng bumaba ang presyo. Pero kung iilan lang yung player ninyo dyan, pwedeng hindi bumaba ang presyo niyan. At lumaki lang ang kita nila. Hindi naman ako against sa kita, kumita sila dahil negosyante sila. Nevertheless, there is a right way of doing it. That's all I wanted to make a final warning. Ha? Now, pwede tayo mawala ng pera ang gobyerno, pero hindi rin bumaba ang presyo sa merkado. Yan ang kinatatakutan ko. At the same time, pinatay pa natin yung local industry. So sana wag po mangyari yon. So thank you very much for the opportunity, Mr. President. And thank you to Secretary Dar for answering our questions ably. Thank you very much.